Hey algebra students, here are the notes for February 9th of 2015. Today we talked about function machines and function notation. Essentially what function notation is it's the way that we write what we're trying to say with the function. So kind of as a review, we remember that a function can be thought of as a machine that assigns one output to every input. And then that was that kind of idea that I had talked about where if I put in an apple, I can only get apple juice. If I put in an orange, I can only get orange juice. I can't ever put in an apple and get orange juice out of a juicer. Then we kind of came down here and we talked about this. And so you've seen something that looks like this, but we really broke down what each piece is. So if you remember, we call this f of x. And what that f is that f is naming the function. So we're going to give it a name. So today when I start talking, I'm going to call my f functions Frankie, just because it makes more sense and I can remember that, okay, Frankie, I have to evaluate for Frankie, because in a little bit here we're going to evaluate for two different functions. This x is actually our input, but it's telling us what we replace our x value with. Tells what we replace our x value with. It's definitely our input though. This whole piece right here, this is our function. So we said that we're naming the function. We're naming this 3x plus 4, or when we start inputting inputs, this right here is our function. So this whole thing is the function. Oops, sorry. Hard to write with one hand and hold the camera with the other. Okay, so finally what we're talking about is this idea of what is this f of x? Well, this f of x, this is the output of the function f. So remember I said that this is function f, we're calling it Frankie, but so we're saying, okay, this whole thing, what this equals once we put an input in there is the output of the function f, which we named this function f, when our variable is x. This is our y value. So if we think about that idea of like, okay, we have an input, we do something to it, we get a y value. It's what this equals once we have our input put in there. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to find and illustrate f of 2 and f equals -1 when our function machine's below. So we're going to make these function machines equal this function up here. So we said that our function was 3x plus 4. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in both of these. So I have 3x plus 4, then I have 3x plus 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to evaluate, I'm going to plug in this 2, because this is saying when x equals 2, what is our function? So do you notice here we took f of x and we replaced this x with a 2. So I'm going to replace this x with a 2. So 2 is my input. I have 3x plus 4 becomes 3 times 2 plus 4. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 4 is 10. My output is 10. The way that we write this in algebraic terms is y equals 10. And the way that we can make this as an ordered pair is our input and our output. So we have 2, 10. We'll do it again. So this time I'm replacing my x with a -1. So I'm going to replace my x with a -1. 3x plus 4, sorry, -1. 3 times -1 plus 4. So 3 times -1 is -3 plus 4. -3 plus 4 is +1. So we get y equals 1, and we get an ordered pair of -1, 1. Hope that helped with the notes piece of it. See if you can do some of the homework by yourself. I'm going to come back with another video on how to do the inside examples.